rise in the cases of coronavirus, the health experts in the country have started putting pressure on the government to rethink its strategy of lifting the nationwide lockdown. The local authorities, in the meantime, have rightly placed a clampdown on cities of the likes of Birganj, Biratnagar, Dhangari, among others. Given this scenario, it is speculated that the federal capital is also bracing for another lockdown. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang and these are the headlines of the hour. 284 new cases of COVID-19 reported in the country yesterday. Total number of coronavirus cases climbs to 20,370. Relations sours between Defence Minister Ishwar Pokhrel and Chief of Army Staff Purna Chandra Thapa, who indulged in open argument at a program. BBC Persian Service investigation reveals that the number of deaths from coronavirus in Iran is nearly triple than claimed by Iranian government. And the Indian Premier League dates officially confirmed. The mega cricket tournament to kick off from September 19 in UAE. 8 people have gone missing in Melamchi municipality 11 when they were buried under a landslide triggered by incessant rainfall around 3:30 a.m. earlier this morning. The landslide struck the covered hall being constructed at Gaidi Dada. The bodies of the 8 individuals, who were all labourers at the covered hall, are yet to be recovered. Rescue efforts are being carried out by the police team from Melamchi Police Office and the locals. One of the labourers, Baru Shah, who was injured in the incident, is undergoing treatment at the Melamchi Primary Hospital. An additional 38 cases of coronavirus was reported in the late evening yesterday. The 38 new cases include that of a ward chairman from Birganj. A total of 284 individuals have tested positive for coronavirus in Nepal yesterday, taking the total number of infections in the country to 20,370. Porsa district reported the highest 119 new cases, including the case of ward chairman, followed by Dhanusha district with 35 cases and the Kathmandu Valley with 31 new cases reported yesterday. Meanwhile, 111 individuals were discharged from various isolation centers after full recovery in the past 24 hours. With this, the total number of recoveries in the country has climbed to 14,603. The discharge rate in the country stands at 71.8%. Dr. Gautam further added that out of the 8,861 tests carried out through the PCR method yesterday, 246 tested positive for the virus. Likewise, 10,934 individuals are in various quarantine centers, whereas there are 5,672 active cases in the country. The death toll in the country due to COVID-19 stands at 57. Despite the closure of the international border between Nepal and India, migrant workers from India have been entering Nepal through illegal ways. Even industrialists look for Indian migrant workers to avoid issues of trade union and minimum wages. However, the high risk of the spread of coronavirus at the community level persists in districts adjacent to the Indian border. Out of the 21 migrant workers who reached Okhaldunga through Biratnagar after the lockdown was lifted, 18 were tested positive to the virus. Likewise, the Chief Executive Officer of Jagadamba Enterprises, who succumbed to the virus, was tested positive after 3 workers who he had brought from India had been found positive for COVID-19. As of the latest report, 11 people have already died in Birganj, while more than 300 new cases were registered in the last 15 days, among which most of them are Indian migrant workers who were brought to Nepal illegally. Nepal is bordered with worst-hit Indian states of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Despite the closure of the international border with India, more than 1,500 vehicles cross the border on a daily basis, carrying illegal migrant workers with the direct initiation of local entrepreneurs. The government has implemented strict measures to bring foreign employees to work in industries and has mandatorily provisioned for coronavirus tests through the PCR method for those who enter the country to work. However, in many cases, this provision has been overlooked, which has increased the risk of community transmission. In recent days, the number of coronavirus cases in Indian cities close to the Nepal border has significantly increased. However, the continuous influx of Indian migrant workers on a daily basis has alarmingly increased the risk of coronavirus spread in Nepal. Welcome back. It's Janae Purnima today, a special day celebrated by Nepalese community in and around the world. The Janae Purnima usually sees a large throng of devotees in various shrines and ponds, but the celebration this year has been muted and confined to homes due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There is an age-old tradition of tying sacred thread around the wrist, while the day is also dedicated to changing Janae, a sacred thread worn by men around their neck and body. People also indulge in savoring a traditional delicacy called kwati, which is a soup-based recipe prepared by mixing various sprout beans. On this day today, the festival of Rakhi is also celebrated mainly by Madheshi community in the country, where sisters tie Rakhi, a special bond of love and protection, on the wrists of brothers. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Ishwar Pokhrel and Chief of Army Staff Purna Chandra Thapa recently had an open argument during a meeting amid the presence of high-ranking army officials. Defence Minister Pokhrel criticized the organisation for the delay in projects, while Army Chief Thapa expressed his dissatisfaction over dragging the organisation in controversies due to unnecessary intervention. We have more in this report. A ministry-level development committee meeting was held at the Defence Ministry on Friday. The Chief of Army Staff, along with other high-ranking army officials, were present at the meeting. Defence Minister Ishwar Pokhrel and Army Chief Purna Chandra Thapa had disputes with each other during that meeting. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Pokhrel not only expressed his dissatisfaction over the work progress of the Kathmandu-Tarai fast track, but also alleged the Nepal Army of adopting traditional working practices. Meanwhile, Army Chief Thapa also expressed his dissatisfaction with Defence Minister Pokhrel and criticized the government's influence in selecting the consultant for the fast track. Not only this, other issues have also attributed to ruining the relation between the Defence Minister and the Army Chief, including the procurement process of medical equipment required to contain the coronavirus pandemic. On the personal interest of the Defence Minister, the Cabinet decided to assign the Nepal Army to procure essential medical supplies through the G2G method. However, Defence Minister Pokhrel did not allow the army to procure the materials from China until the medical stock procured by the controversial Omni Group was cleared. The relation between the Defence Minister and the Army Chief further worsened when the Army could not bring the PCR kits in the first installment of the procurement, and Defence Minister Pokhrel had no explanation in this regard. Meanwhile, the Army Chief sacked two high-ranking officials in an alleged breaching of the chain of command as the organization's policy amendment draft was submitted to the Defence Minister without his knowledge. According to a source, Chief of Army Staff Thapa has conveyed his dissatisfaction to the Prime Minister. The ball is now in the Prime Minister's court to manage the ongoing tussle between the Defence Minister and the Army Chief. The National Examination Board has already made the decision to cancel this year's 10th and 11th grade examination. Meanwhile, students have already submitted at least 1 billion rupees in the name of examination fee. There is now growing pressure on the board to return the money to the students. More than 900,000 students appearing the SEE examination and grade 11 board examinations had made the payment of examination fee to the National Examination Board. 482,000 SEE appearing students had made the payment of 850 rupees each, summing up to nearly 410 million rupees, and 528,000 students appearing grade 11 examinations had made the payment of 1,000 each, summing up to 528 million rupees. Likewise, the board had collected more than 10 million rupees from technical subject students in the name of practical examination. However, the examinations scheduled for the Nepalese month of Chaitra and Baisakh failed to take place due to the global pandemic COVID-19. Preparations are now afoot to publish results of grade 10 and 11 through internal evaluation as per the decision made by the government to provide certificate through internal evaluation. As the examination has been cancelled, students and parents have demanded for the refund of the examination fee. Meanwhile, the board hasn't even conducted discussion on the issue. As per the board, even though the examinations have been cancelled, the budget has already been spent in printing exam question papers and answer sheets. There is a call on the board should either decide on refunding the 940 million rupees collected from students or should look for adjustment of the amount in the next year's examination. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents of Morang what they say on allowing people to enter Nepal from southern bordering regions without proper health screening. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
मान्छे आउने जाने क्रम बढिरहेको छ जाँच गरेर मात्रै आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ संक्रमितहरू कम हुन्छ कि भन्ने हामीलाई पनि लागेको छ अलि कडा रूपमा चाहिँ हाम्रो सरकारले लिनुपर्छ
प्रदेश सरकारले स्थानीय सरकारले स्थानीय जनप्रतिनिधिहरूले अत्यन्तै गम्भीरतापूर्वक लिनुपर्छ र यसलाई कडाई भन्दा कडाई गरेर सीमा नाकालाई सिल गर्नुपर्छ
इन्डियाबाट आउनेबाट चाहिँ धेरै रोगहरू सरेको छ यो हाम्रो जुन पनि यो दक्षिणपट्टि यो 8 वटा सीमा नाकाहरू छन् त्यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले एकदमै सुरक्षित तवरले गर्नुपर्छ
इन्डियामा अलि जसरी बढिरहेको छ यो संक्रमणको दर यसलाई हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो नाकाहरू चाहिँ अलि नियन्त्रण नै गर्नुपर्ने हो
एकदम जोखिमपूर्ण कुरा हो अब यसले चाहिँ जोखिम बढाउँछ कोरोनाको महामारी का बेला सीमा नाका बन्दै गर्नुपर्छ
चेक जाँच गरेर आउनुपर्छ अन्यथा आउनु दिनु हुँदैन
चेक जाँच गर्ने मान्छे नै छैन नभए त हेर्नुस् सबै मान्छे मास्क सुद्धा मान्छे पर्याप्त रूपमा लगाइरहेको छैन
कोरोना भाइरसको संक्रमित बढेको यसले अब कसैलाई कहीँ जान कहीँ छुन के गरेर हामीलाई दिनका दिन डर भइरहेको छ त्यसै गर्दाखेरि सीमा क्षेत्रबाट चाहिँ अब एकदम कडा रूपमा जाँच परिचालन गरिसकेर मात्र नेपालमा प्रवेश गराइयो
And time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: why hasn't the Prime Minister evaluated the words of the ministers? The options are option A, inter-party dispute, option B, no time, and option C, effect of the pandemic. The voting for the question is on. Type any WS, select your options A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for our special segment of The Beat.
Timely treatment against snake bites can easily save precious lives. However, snake bites in Nepal result in a number of deaths every year. Meanwhile, Nepal is all geared up to produce anti-snake venom in Sunthari's Bara region at the first-of-the-kind center. Anti-snake venom research and manufacturing has started the legwork to produce the medicines to treat snake bites. The center was recently inaugurated, which is being constructed at an investment of just over 880 million rupees. The facility also aims to export the anti-snake venom abroad in near future, while Nepal currently imports anti-snake serums from India. With a high demand for anti-snake venom, the center is targeting to produce 1.5 million serums worth 1.5 billion rupees annually. To meet its target, the center has started procuring 200 snakes and an equal number of horses. The venom collected from the snakes is injected into the horses. A month later, the injected horses produce antibody to fight against snake bites. This follows the process of collecting the blood from the horses, which is further processed to make anti-snake venom. Nepal's Tarai region reports of large cases of snake bites, which can be treated through anti-snake venom to save precious lives. A trademark depicting the image of Himalayas is said to be endorsed for the promotion of tea produced in Nepal. Preparations are afoot to export the tea produced in the country with the trademark logo after ensuring quality check. The businesses have been exporting the tea produced at the tea estate with their own initiation. Meanwhile, questions have been raised on the quality of Nepalese tea, leading to a distrust in the international market. This has led to the concept of much-needed branding of Nepalese tea in the international market. Nepalese tea is exported to countries ranging from the US to Japan. There is also a high demand of our tea in South Korea and some European countries. Despite the soaring demand, the tea producers in Nepal have not been able to increase the stake in the market. The export of Nepalese tea is limited to 4.5 billion rupees, despite producing 250,000 quintals of tea annually. Analysts in the market view that the lack of branding has been an obstacle in better marketing and promotion of Nepalese tea. The tea estate owners opine that if the Nepalese tea can be exported by ensuring quality, it can boost the country's ailing economy and support the country's employment sector. This is Sarah Chitrakar for our segment Off the Beat and Kantipur News Desk.
And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Have a great day ahead.